the fuck back, you delicious, sexy motherfucking TA nerds. Welcome back to the Blackfire Technical Analysis YouTube channel. I am your host with the motherfucking most, Crypto Bro, coming back at you again with another edition of the daily live stream. How the hell is everybody? Beautiful Thursday evening, nice and rainy, my favorite kind of weather. Beautiful Thursday evening / early Friday morning. I hope everyone's doing happy, safe, well, profitable, etc., etc. in this beautiful market. Plenty to discuss today, ladies and gentlemen. It turns out the bullish sentiment was a fucking farce. Yes indeedy, yes sirs, yes ma'ams, it was a farce. And we have plenty to cover today in the live stream. So, gonna turn on my chill music real quick. Hop on into this motherfucker. Get my good chill vibes going. Yeah. Just got out of the shower. Had to rush home. Well, that's actually pretty slick, bruh. Ooh. Give me a little mohawk, bro. I wish I had some hair gel. I'd put it up like that right now, too. Plenty of shit to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of shit. Again, this is why we plan for everything and expect nothing. Just because I had a little bit of a bias for the bullish perspective for some of these assets to close above the 21 EMA with confirmation does not mean that I know for a fact that that is going to be the outcome. I actually don't know jack shit. Please understand. I don't know anything. Just the technicals. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Rejections across the board. Across the board. On almost every single asset. A sea of red with speckles of green. Let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, we're going to take a look at Mr. NASDAQ here. Obviously, creeping up towards the 21 exponential here yesterday. Proving that we are still within a consolidation phase. Yes, we are still consolidating for Mr. NASDAQ here, hitting the top side of the range, testing the 21 exponential, and then boom, swiftly and decisively crashing back below tentative support, back below the red 10 simple, and just absolutely heinous. Just fucking absolutely heinous, ladies and gentlemen. Nice little continuation drive to the downside here. And now we're going to be testing the current lows, which we are actively doing at this current moment in time. Now let's go ahead and look at what momentum oscillators are telling us. A top has been called. We do see RSI breaking through the exponential, forcing it back to a negative slope once again. Back to the negative sloped exponential here. Stochastics here, not looking too fucking hot either. Looking like it wants to reject the bottom side of the bearish control zone. Looking like it wants to fall back into the bearish critical territory. This does not speak volumes from a bullish perspective, ladies and gentlemen. This absolutely does not speak volumes. And again, this is why it is so important to await confirmation. Now, we didn't even get a breach of the 21 exponential on NASDAQ, but trust and believe me, we got plenty of breaches on a lot of the other assets that we're going to be looking at today that did not confirm. This is why confirmation is so critical. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, do not trade without having some form of confirmation strategy. And we did not get confirmation on the 21 EMA on a lot of these assets yesterday. We actually got a full-blown rejection all the way back down to tentative support here. Not looking too hot. Actually breaking through support, I would say, with a confirmation closure today below the 13,085 support, which is still classified as support until proven otherwise. I would be looking for an attempt to breach the lows here. I would actually be looking for price action to continue on down. Looking for lower lows all the way down to $12,300 even. Excuse me. Yeah, not the prettiest sight. The only thing that convinces me otherwise, again, would be a open and closure above the 21 exponential. If that condition is met, I would be looking for a retest of the bottom side of this specific blue box territory around the 13,880 resistance, and maybe even a pop up towards the next resistance towards 14,200. But until I get that confirmation above the 21, I am absolutely convinced that downside continuation is the most likely course of action for NASDAQ here. And we'll get into a couple of other reasons why. That's going to wrap up NASDAQ. Obviously, still very bearish, bearishly formed here. Again, you know, I was looking for a possible trade above the 21, but that did not flip my overall bias from a bearish structure to a bullish structure. Doesn't work like that in my, in my mentality, and it sure as hell doesn't work like that with the overall structure being considered. So, moving on, SPY futures here, same fucking thing. Still in a consolidation phase here, looking to potentially break down. Again, we have been going sideways. I did suggest that it was possible to remain within this consolidation phase for another couple of days, maybe even a week, maybe 2 weeks. We remain within this range, and it's very obvious that we have a clearly defined horizontal resistance and a clearly defined horizontal support that we are bouncing back and forth in between here. And again, those are the key horizontals that we're going to be looking for to either confirm some kind of breakout or some kind of breakdown, right? But with the pressure rejecting the 21 exponential has a more power to the downside. Now we're putting pressure on this support here. Same sentiment. If we see a closure below this support here, 41.40, I would be looking for continuation to the next horizontal right around 40.50. Even $4,050 even, maybe even lower, and that would just confirm more downtrend continuation. RSI, very similar, rejecting the exponential, forcing the exponential back to a negative slope and breaking back down below it, signifying a top call, not the best call in the world. Stochastics looking like it wants to reject the middle of the bearish control zone territory as well as it initiates a fresh cross to the downside. I could be wrong. This could be indicative of consolidation for a couple of more days, but I just don't like the fact that stochastics and the momentum oscillators are being controlled by the bearish control territory or the bearish critical territory. It just speaks volumes. It speaks volumes on how much the bears are controlling this market at the current moment in time. Same sentiment though. I'm not convinced of any bullish momentum until I see an open and closure above the 21 exponential, which would put price action back into the blue box territory above $4,300 even. At which point it would not be out of the question to see a test all the way up towards 44.70 spot 25. But again, at the end of the day, same thing as NASDAQ with this structure here. I remain bearish until we flip, right? Until we continue with higher highs and then a higher low confirmation above 46.20 spot 25. I remain bearish as shit long term. It does not mean, again, I was looking for trades above the 21 on some of the assets that we're going to cover. I was looking for trades, and I was looking to exit those trades quickly, right? In a bearish market, trades above the 21 do not last as long as trades below the 21, and vice versa. During a bull market, trades above the 21 last a lot longer than trades below the 21. So in this instance here, if we did get confirmation on any of these assets above the 21 exponential here, I was looking for quick moves to the upside, and quick position closures and quick profits before inevitably seeing some kind of lower high structure with bearish continuation possible. But I digress. Still looking pretty shitty. Still looking not like it wants to recover in any way. It definitely looks like it wants to get sold into even more. Looking like we might initiate some kind of lower low formation in the next coming days here, assuming we don't see consolidation continue to play out for the next couple of days, maybe even a week or two. And that's it. Very basic, very simple here, ladies and gentlemen. Consolidation phase is broken with an open and closure above 4,300 to the upside and broken towards the downside below 41.40. Those are the two horizontals that I'm looking at. Those are the most important horizontals that I'm looking at. As long as we remain within that range, it's ranging. And again, I'm not saying you can't trade the range. It's very easy to trade the range. I just don't like trading the ranges. They're not big, juicy, delicious moves for me. I'd rather trade breakouts above the 21 or breakdowns below the 21, and that's where most of my profits come from. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for here. Do we see continuation down or do we see reversal? U.S. dollar index, man. I saw it break down, and then I saw it fucking recover! Testing the 21 exponential and its corresponding support level at 102 spot 25 here. Boom! Back up above the red 10 simple here. With a little bit of conflict here with RSI. We still see RSI below the exponential, which is negative, so there is a show of concern there. But we see stochastics crossing back up once again in the bullish critical territory. This is a very very, very bullish signal here. Again, this is a very, very, very bullish market, in my opinion, and has been since the breakout outside of this W range formation, and has been carrying towards the upside ever since. If I see an open and closure above current resistance, which resides at 103.73, I will be looking for continuation towards the 1.272 Fibonacci extension target around 105.66, give or take a few cents, a few quarters. That would be the general area I would be looking for price action to move towards next. And not only that, but it does look like we may signal a higher low in this RSI formation and price action formation. I would be very confident that if we see closures above current resistance, that confirms and we see continuation, as well as a fresh cross above the exponential here for RSI in the bullish control zone. Very, very, very delicious stuff here. Again, I did suggest a pullback. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than this, but apparently fucking not. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is why you prepare for everything and expect nothing. If you fail to plan, your plan is to fail. Simple. Simple, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this shit up. Moving on, I want to check out Apple here. Okay, this is one of the ones that I was getting excited for here, breaching above the 21 exponential and then rejecting it again. This is why you wait for confirmation, ladies and gentlemen. This is again, was I a little sad that I couldn't open some trades today? Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I give a shit? Absolutely not. Because I did what my trading plan says to do. I did exactly what the chart told me to do. It told me not to open a position. Why? Because we saw this breach above the 21. Exciting, exciting, exciting. We saw a potential breach of the 50 read. Exciting, exciting, exciting. We saw a potential breach above the 35 read for stochastics. Exciting, exciting, exciting. The only thing we were missing was a secondary open and closure. And guess what? We did not get that. We did not get the secondary open and closure above the 21. In fact, we actually rejected the 21 and closed below tentative support. Or right on support. Whatever you want to call it. Maybe we can open this range up just a little bit here, just to be on the fair side. And even then, we saw a breach above the range as well. Didn't quite work out. Didn't quite work out for Apple here. So what am I going to be looking for? A little bit of divergence being flagged out here on the RSI. Back below the exponential, and this is with force. This is with force here, ladies and gentlemen, and the exponential has been forced back to a slightly negative posture. Definitely indicative of a little bit of downside continuation. We saw stochastics currently testing the top side of the bearish control zone with a little bit of a breach, but again, if we get a little bit of a breach and then a cross back down, it would still classify as rejection here. And we do see a lot of pressure being applied to stochastics at the current moment in time. The very, very, very same principles apply. I'm looking at two horizontals. Any open and closure above this horizontal, which would be in confluence with an open and closure above the 21, I will be looking for a breakout formation to continue price action towards 170.67. And quite the contrary here. Any open and closure below current support at 156 even, I will be looking for continuation to the current lows at 150.50 and maybe even lower. We will have to identify some potential moves towards the downside if we have some sentiment, if we have confirmation on lower lows. But that's kind of how I'm looking at it for right now. That's Apple. Let's move on. Microsoft, another one that broke above the 21 EMA. Maybe I have to open up this range a little bit too. Has been consolidating for quite some time. Hits the top side of the range above the 21 exponential. Boom, gets rejected back below the 21 exponential. Very, very, very same fucking analysis, except stochastics is actually looking to reject nothing. It's above the 50 read. Jeez. Oops. It is above the 50 read. So we do have confirmation above the 50 read. Not that it means much. Again, we could still see a cross back below, which would classify as a rejection of the 50 read, which is right here. Let me highlight it for you. Sorry about that. Boom. So again, just because we have a little bit of confirmation above it doesn't mean it's going to hold. It could still reject to the downside. And with all the red that we saw, man, it's definitely pressure on. I would say with confidence, any open and closure below 273, I would be looking for moves all the way back down towards 262. And maybe lower. Maybe lower. Again, if we do confirm lower lows, I would look for a bigger, more significant breakdown out of this formation. I would be looking for some capitulation along the way, ladies and gentlemen. I would be looking for, rather big, big bad moves to the downside on almost all accounts if we do get confirmation of lower lows here. And again, same thing. The only thing that convinces me otherwise would be a breach of the range to the upside above 290, which would be in confluence with an open and closure above the 21, at which point I would suggest a move towards the diagonal trend line, maybe like 304. And if we see breaches above 304, then we can finally test the current highs right around 315, spot 80, something like that. Yeah, looking pretty nice to the downside, to be quite honest with you. Again, I could be wrong. This thing could go full-blown fucking bull mode tomorrow. It could. Again, but that's why I rely on the technicals, ladies and gentlemen. I rely on the technicals because the technicals make me profits. Moving on, AMD. This is one that I was really, really excited about. I did mention that reversal style candlestick formation that did close above the 21 on last night's stream. And what do we get? Same fucking thing. Rejecting the 21 exponential and closing back below. No confirmation had. I am going to be looking for this one to continue back into this blue box territory below 90 spot 53 and all the way down towards 85 spot 50 as well. Any open and closure on lower lows, I'm going to start looking for targets towards 79 3/4, and maybe even all the way down to 73 spot 90 to the downside. And the only thing, again, that convinces me otherwise would be open and closure above the 21 after a breach here, which would kind of coincide with a continuation move above 100 spot 73, at which point I would look for a test of that diagonal trendline formation here right around 112 spot 20, maybe a little higher. But RSI coming up to that 50 read, hitting rejection, hitting the reset button, coming back down. It does look like it should be a top here. But I think it needed to go a little bit below the wick low of yesterday's candle, below 92.09, yeah, something like that, before the top flag is called. Stochastics still up. I'll give Stochastics that, but I do believe it's a false show of momentum here. We don't have a true burst of momentum like Stochastics is suggesting here. Rather, we rejected the 21 again, and we're looking for continuation to the downside. Now, I could be wrong again, but that is my main sentiment for AMD. Nvidia, no confirmation, no breach of the 21. Still consolidating for the time being. I'm gonna get rid of this. Still consolidating for the time being. Still very, very tight in its range. Saw a breach of the no. It didn't say a slight breach. It saw a slight breach of the top side of the range yesterday. Got rejected. It didn't even come towards the 21 exponential. This one's going sideways. Very, very easy analysis tonight. Any open and closure below 183, we'll call it 184. I will be looking for a continuation drive all the way down to 171 spot 35 right here. And vice versa, any open and closure above the top side of the range at 201, we'll just call it 202. I would be looking for a move towards the 21 exponential or the bottom side of this blue box territory at 211 spot 75. Now looking at RSI here, yeah, it looks like it wants to top again. It did just cross the exponential, I do believe. Yep, forcing it back to a negative slope slightly, but close enough is close enough here. It looks like, again, rejection being initiated here. And Stochastics here looking weak above the bottom side of the bearish control zone with some downside pressure being applied to that slightly positive sloped Stochastics, And again, nothing on this chart is convincing me that this is ready to reverse to the upside just yet. Nothing on the charts, any of these charts are telling me that. So, until proven otherwise, looking at the trending formation to the downside long term, I have to remain long term bearish until at least I see some kind of reversal style formation. Twitter is the only one that gave me some green juice today. Nice little up movement towards 50 spot 36 here, testing the resistance, closing on a reversal style doji candlestick here. But here's what I like. Here's what I really like about this. RSI crossing back above the exponential. Do we have a positive slope on that? We do have a positive slope on the exponential for RSI. That is at least a halfway decent sign for continuation. And then stochastics at the same time kind of psyched me out by dipping down. But we do see this diagonal trend line of peace and prosperity being held as support for this stochastics formation, crossing back above the exponential. Very, very, very nice. It doesn't look clean. It isn't clean, but I will suggest, at least from my perspective, at least a continuation attempt towards 51.71 here, corresponding resistance. Any open and closure above that, I'm going to be looking for higher highs. Realistically, I'm going to be looking for a move all the way up towards 59.31. And again, we are above the 21. I did enter this position a little late. I do admit that. But I've been, managing my risk each and every day, and I'm closing in on having a risk-free opportunity already, just a few days after entry. And I'm being very patient with Twitter. I do have reasons to believe that we continue to those new highs towards $59 here, unless proven otherwise. And that proof otherwise would be, again, reversal back into this blue box territory with an open and closure below the 21 exponential, at which point I would look for a swift continuation towards $45 even, and maybe even a little bit further down towards maybe 40.75 to close this big open gap that we do have. Very visual on the chart right now. Definitely a possibility for this asset, and that's kind of my analysis for that. Very, 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 very nice. I like Twitter right now. Moving on, Pepsi's another one that I was excited about, breaching above the 21 exponential here and then getting rejected once again. I will be looking for continuation towards the downside here. I'm actually going to be looking for 167.50 to breach. I'm going to be looking for moves all the way down to this level here at 160.45. Momentum oscillators do not look healthy on this one right now. We do have bullish divergence that lifted RSI into the exponential and then got rejected. Now we're seeing RSI playing around with that 50 read, and it definitely suggests with the rejection continuation downward. Stochastics here looking like it wanted to cross back to the upside, actually rejecting the 50 read right here. Very, 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 very cleanly rejecting the 50 read and rejecting the exponential as well. Look at this momentum to the downside, ladies and gentlemen. Very, 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 very nasty looking here. All signs point to continuation towards the downside. Again, we just projected the 21 exponential, and as long as price action remains below that 21 exponential, I'm going to be looking for continuation down. Unless proven otherwise, open and closure above the 21, and then I'll start looking for new highs above the current resistance here, which is around 175.84. Any open and closure above 175.84, I will look for continuation towards the 1.272 Fibonacci extension target around 184.72, give or take a buck or two, would be the general target that I'm going to be looking for to the upside, again, if the conditions are met. Moving on, I want to check out Bitcoin. No requests tonight, so this is likely the last one. This one was actually a huge mover today towards the downside here, confirming lower lows once again and looking to confirm new tentative resistance. If that condition is confirmed, if we see a closure today below 36,930, I will look for further continuation to test the lows at $35,000 once again. Somebody asked me tonight if Bitcoin going to 20,000 is a possibility again. Abso-fucking-lutely. If it's been to 20,000 before, it can happen again. If it's history on the chart, it's history on the chart. It's a significant level. It's a significant all-time high, a previous all-time high. And I would imagine that if we do see some kind of landslide in the markets, that $20,000 would be a psychological support level for price action, at which point I might fucking buy some in. Now we do see RSI here kind of coiling, right? Kind of coiling up, tightening up. It's basically telling me that a big bad move is coming up here with a little bit of a divergence call back below the exponential, forcing it to a negative slope. Once again, it was slightly positive for some time, and now it's negative again. And stochastics kind of just bullshitting, right? Nice little cross back up. I don't know how this initiated with this momentum to the downside. I'm not quite understanding how we got to cross up with a big move to the downside like that. Not sure. But it is crossed up. Exponential is positive. We have breached back into the bearish control zone. Again, I'm not taking that as a critical signal at all. at all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually going to be looking for continuation to the downside. Only thing that convinces me otherwise would be an open and closure above this level here, 40,200, which would coincide with a breach and a confirmation above the 21 exponential, at which point I would be looking for moves all the way back up to 44,200. But I think that condition is less likely than continuation to potential new lower lows. And the open and closure below 35,000, I'm going to be looking for a big move towards 32,000 for Bitcoin. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay extra frosty if you're watching this market. Again, cover your own ass, manage your risk, do your own due diligence, do your own research before entering any trades or investments. It is crucial that you conduct your own analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I will never tell you what to do with your trades or investments. I'm not licensed to do so. I'm just providing my own speculative opinions on the market itself. Be safe, ladies and gentlemen. Please be safe. Definitely, in my opinion, again, this is a bias, but it does look like something big and bad is likely rearing its ugly head, and we likely see some red fucking, girthy ass, veiny ass candlestick dildos to the downside in the near future. Again, if specifics conditions are met and the requirements are met, that's what I'll be looking for. So that's going to do it for today's stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to check me out on Elden Ring, I will be live in about 5 minutes. I'm going to be playing with my friend again tonight. Come along with me and enjoy that beautiful, beautiful, delicious game. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tick that little bell. And if you aren't new to the channel, bring some friends, man. If you have any friends that are interested in trading or learning how to trade, I would be glad to privately message them and invite them to the Blackfire Technical Analysis Facebook community. We're almost 400 members strong. We are moving up in the numbers right now. We got another member added today. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the community. Thank you for being here. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me.